What if confidence wasn't about external validation but an inner state of calm and clarity? Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. These words cut straight to the heart of what Stoicism teaches us about confidence. It's not about seeking approval or fearing judgment. It's about mastering your own thoughts and emotions. Today, we're diving into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to uncover how you can cultivate effortless confidence by focusing on what's truly within your control. We'll explore principles like self-awareness, resilience, and the power of perspective, all of which can help you build unshakable confidence that doesn't rely on anyone else. This isn't just about feeling good in the moment, it's about creating a mindset that stands strong, no matter what life throws your way. So, let's begin this journey together and discover how Stoicism can transform the way you see yourself and the world around you. Stoicism teaches us that true confidence begins with understanding what we can and cannot control. This is what the Stoics called the Dichotomy of Control, a simple yet transformative idea that divides the world into two categories, things within our power and things outside of it. Think about it, we can't control the weather, other people's opinions, or even the outcomes of our efforts, but what we can control is how we respond to these external factors. As Epictetus said, some things are within our power while others are not. When we focus on what's truly ours to manage, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, we unlock a sense of stability that no external event can shake. Let's take a common example, criticism at work. Maybe you've poured your heart into a project, only to have someone point out flaws or dismiss your effort. It's natural to feel defensive or discouraged in that moment. But here's the Stoic perspective. You can't control what others say or think about your work. What you can control is how you choose to interpret their feedback. Do you let it derail your confidence, or do you use it as an opportunity to grow? By shifting your focus to your own response, you reclaim your power and build resilience. Now, think about a recent situation where you felt powerless. Maybe it was a cancelled plan, a missed opportunity, or a disagreement with someone close to you. What if, instead of fixating on what went wrong, you asked yourself, what part of this is within my control? This simple question can reframe your entire experience, helping you move from frustration to empowerment. Confidence, after all, isn't about controlling every outcome. It's about mastering your inner world, no matter what happens outside of it. This principle doesn't just apply to big challenges, it's just as powerful in everyday moments. Whether you're stuck in traffic, dealing with a difficult conversation, or facing unexpected setbacks, the dichotomy of control offers a way to stay grounded. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you free up energy to focus on what truly matters, your own growth, integrity, and peace of mind. And that's where real confidence begins. How often do you pause to examine your thoughts and emotions? In the rush of daily life, it's easy to let moments slip by without truly understanding what drives us. This is where the Stoic practice of reflection comes in, a powerful tool for cultivating self-awareness and, in turn, confidence. The Stoics believed that understanding yourself is the foundation of all wisdom. As Seneca once said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. This isn't just about surrounding yourself with good influences. It's about becoming the kind of person who can recognize and align with those influences in the first place. Reflection is like holding up a mirror to your mind. It allows you to see your thoughts, emotions, and actions clearly, helping you identify what aligns with your values and what doesn't. For the Stoics, this wasn't just a casual exercise, it was a daily ritual. They would set aside time each evening to review their day, asking themselves questions like, did I act with integrity today? Did I let my emotions control me, or did I respond with reason? This practice wasn't about self-criticism, it was about self-improvement. One practical way to start is through journaling. Imagine sitting down at the end of the day and writing out your thoughts, what went well, what challenged you, and how you handled those challenges. Over time, this habit helps you spot patterns in your behavior, giving you the clarity to make better decisions in the future. It's not about achieving perfection, but about making progress. When you understand yourself better, you stop being ruled by fleeting emotions or external pressures. Instead, you act from a place of confidence, knowing your actions are aligned with what truly matters to you. So, what might a daily reflection practice look like for you? It doesn't have to be elaborate, just a few minutes to pause and ask yourself honest questions. What did I learn today? How did I grow? What can I do differently tomorrow? These small moments of introspection can lead to big shifts in how you see yourself and the world around you. The Stoics understood that life is inherently transient, a truth that can feel unsettling at first, but when embraced becomes a source of profound strength. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most famous Stoic philosophers, once wrote, "Everything is ephemeral, both that which remembers and that which is remembered." What he meant was simple yet profound. Nothing lasts forever, not even our memories or the things we hold dear. This idea might sound bleak, but it's actually liberating. When we accept that change is the only constant, we free ourselves from the fear of losing what we have or failing to achieve what we want. Think about it: how often do we cling to stability, only to feel anxious when life inevitably shifts? Whether it's a sudden career change, an unexpected loss, or even a global event that reshapes our world, uncertainty is unavoidable. But here's the Stoic perspective. Instead of resisting impermanence, we can use it as a tool to build resilience. By reminding ourselves that everything good or bad is temporary, we cultivate a mindset that's prepared for anything. This doesn't mean we stop caring or striving. It means we stop being paralyzed by fear of the unknown. Let's take a modern example. Imagine someone who's spent years building a career in a specific industry, only to find their role replaced by automation. At first, it might feel devastating, even paralyzing. But if they've embraced the Stoic idea of impermanence, they'll see this as an opportunity to adapt, learn, and grow. They'll understand that this moment, no matter how challenging, is just one chapter in a much larger story. And that perspective can give them the confidence to navigate uncertainty with purpose rather than panic. So, how do you respond when life throws you a curveball? Do you resist, clinging to what was, or do you adapt, seeing change as a chance to evolve? The Stoics would argue that our ability to accept impermanence is directly tied to our ability to thrive in an unpredictable world. It's not about ignoring the difficulty of change, but about recognizing that even the toughest moments are fleeting, and that within them lies the potential for growth. Confidence isn't about winning, it's about being at peace with any outcome. This might sound counterintuitive in a world that often measures success by results, but Stoicism teaches us that true confidence comes from focusing on what we can control, our effort, our intention, and our mindset, while letting go of the rest. As Epictetus wisely said, man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them. In other words, it's not the outcome itself that rattles us, it's the meaning we attach to it. Think about preparing for a presentation. You can spend hours perfecting your slides, rehearsing your delivery, and anticipating questions. But what happens when someone in the audience seems uninterested or challenges your ideas? If your confidence hinges on their approval, that moment might feel like a failure. But what if instead you focused on the effort you put into preparing and the value of sharing your knowledge, regardless of how it's received? That shift in perspective is the essence of detachment. This isn't about not caring, it's about caring in a healthier, more empowering way. When you detach from external outcomes, you free yourself from the anxiety of trying to control the uncontrollable. You become less reactive to criticism or setbacks because your sense of worth isn't tied to the results. Consider how this could apply to your own life. Maybe it's a job interview, a creative project, or even a difficult conversation with a loved one. What would it feel like to focus on doing your best without obsessing over how it will turn out? How might that change your approach and your confidence? Detaching from outcomes doesn't mean giving up on goals or aspirations. It means understanding that your value isn't determined by them. When you embrace this mindset, you cultivate a deeper, more unshakable confidence, one that thrives not on external validation, but on the quiet certainty that you've done your part with integrity and purpose. What if confidence wasn't something you had to chase or fake, but something that came naturally from living in alignment with your deepest values? Stoicism teaches us that true confidence isn't about external validation or achievements, it's about virtue. Virtue, in the Stoic sense, is the highest good. It's about living with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. When you act in accordance with these principles, you build a foundation of inner confidence that no external circumstance can shake. Seneca once said, "A good character is the only guarantee of everlasting happiness." Think about that for a moment. Confidence rooted in virtue isn't fleeting, it's enduring. It doesn't depend on what others think of you or how much you've accomplished. Instead, it comes from knowing that you're living a life of integrity, one where your actions align with your values. Let's take an example. Imagine you're in a situation where standing up for what's right is uncomfortable, maybe even risky. Maybe it's speaking out against an injustice at work or defending someone who can't defend themselves. In that moment, choosing courage over comfort, justice over convenience is an act of virtue. And every time you make that choice, you strengthen your confidence. Why? Because you're proving to yourself that you can trust your own character. Now, think about your own life. Are there areas where your actions might not fully align with your values? Maybe it's a small habit you've been ignoring or a decision you've been putting off. Reflect on how you can take one step today to act with greater virtue. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Sometimes the smallest acts of integrity can have the biggest impact on your confidence. Picture this: you're in the middle of a conversation, and instead of anxiously rehearsing what you'll say next or worrying about how you're being perceived, you're completely focused on the person in front of you. You're listening, responding, and connecting, fully present. That's the kind of effortless confidence Stoicism teaches us to cultivate. It's not about trying to impress or overthink. It's about being here right now in this moment. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's most famous practitioners, put it simply: confine yourself to the present. It's a reminder that confidence doesn't come from rehearsing the future or dwelling on the past. It comes from grounding yourself in what's happening right in front of you. When you're fully present, you're not weighed down by anxiety about what might go wrong or regrets about what already has. You're free to act with clarity and purpose. Let's take a practical example. Think about a stressful day at work or school. Maybe you've got a mountain of tasks to get through and it feels overwhelming. Instead of letting your mind race ahead to everything you still need to do, what if you focused on just one thing at a time? What if you gave that one task your full attention without letting distractions pull you away? That's the power of presence. It's not about ignoring the bigger picture. It's about giving yourself the mental space to handle what's right in front of you with confidence and calm. Now, here's a question to reflect on. How often do you truly live in the moment? How much of your day is spent thinking about what's next, what's left to do, or what might happen? The truth is, most of us spend far more time in our heads than we do in the present. But Stoicism reminds us that the present moment is where life happens. It's where we find our strength, our focus, and yes, our confidence. So the next time you feel doubt creeping in or anxiety pulling you in a dozen directions, take a breath and come back to the present. Remind yourself that this moment is all you need to handle right now. And when you do, you'll find that confidence isn't something you have to chase, it's already here, waiting for you to notice it. Stoicism teaches us that others' opinions are beyond our control and ultimately unimportant. Think about it. How much time and energy do we waste worrying about what someone else might think or say? The truth is, their judgments are rooted in their own perceptions, biases, and limitations, not in who you truly are. This realization is liberating. When you stop letting the fear of judgment dictate your actions, you free yourself to live authentically and act with confidence. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it perfectly when he said, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone.'" In other words, people's opinions often reveal more about them than they do about you. Their criticism is rarely a full picture of who you are. It's just a fragment seen through their own lens. Take a moment to consider this. Imagine you're in a meeting at work and you have an idea to share, but you hesitate because you're afraid someone might criticize it. What if, instead of holding back, you reminded yourself that their opinion doesn't define your worth or the value of your idea? What if you spoke up anyway, not because you're sure everyone will agree, but because you trust your own judgment? That's the kind of confident Stoicism encourages, acting not for the approval of others, but because it aligns with your principles and values. So, how can you start caring less about what others think? Begin by recognizing that their opinions are outside your control. You can't please everyone, and that's okay. What matters is how you choose to respond, whether you let their judgments hold you back or use them as an opportunity to strengthen your resolve. When you focus on what's within your power, your actions, your mindset, your growth, you'll find that the fear of judgment loses its grip and your confidence grows naturally. How often do you find yourself caught off guard by life's challenges? What if there was a way to face them head-on, not with fear, but with calm confidence? This is where the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of adversity, comes into play. It's a powerful tool that helps you prepare for the unexpected, not by worrying, but by mentally rehearsing how you'll handle whatever comes your way. As Seneca wisely said, the wise man looks ahead and prepares himself for what may come. By visualizing potential obstacles and reflecting on how you'll respond, you strip fear of its power and replace it with clarity and resilience. Think about it like this. Imagine you have a tough conversation coming up. Instead of dreading it or avoiding it, you take a moment to sit quietly and play out the scenario in your mind. You consider what the other person might say, how you'll respond calmly, and what you'll do if things don't go as planned. This mental rehearsal doesn't just prepare you for the conversation, it builds your confidence because you've already faced it in your mind. You're no longer reacting to the unknown, you're stepping into it with intention. Now take a moment to reflect. What's one challenge you're facing right now that feels daunting? How might you apply this Stoic practice to prepare for it? By embracing premeditatio malorum, you're not just preparing for what might go wrong, you're training yourself to stay steady, no matter what life throws your way. And that's the kind of confidence that doesn't come from avoiding challenges, but from knowing you're ready to meet them. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most renowned Stoic philosophers, faced unimaginable challenges as the ruler of Rome. Wars, plagues, political betrayals, his life was anything but easy. Yet he didn't crumble under the weight of adversity. Instead, he leaned into Stoic teachings, finding strength and clarity in the chaos. He once wrote, "The obstacle is the way," a simple yet profound reminder that challenges aren't roadblocks, they're opportunities for growth. adversity, when approached with the right mindset, becomes a powerful teacher. It doesn't just test us, it reveals what we're capable of. Think about a time when you faced a setback or a failure. Maybe it was a project that didn't go as planned or a goal that seemed out of reach. At first, it might have felt like a crushing blow, but looking back, didn't that experience teach you something valuable? Perhaps it showed you resilience, creativity, or even a new path forward. That's the essence of Stoic confidence. It's not about avoiding hardship, but about embracing it as a chance to grow stronger. Take, for example, someone who loses their job unexpectedly. In the moment, it feels like a disaster, but with time, they might discover new skills, pursue a passion they'd set aside, or even build a career they never imagined. The obstacle, in this case, truly becomes the way. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about recognizing that even in difficulty, there's an opportunity to learn, adapt, and thrive. So, how can you apply this to your own life? When you're faced with a challenge, pause and ask yourself, what can this teach me? How can I use this moment to build my confidence and resilience? Remember, confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you cultivate, especially in the face of adversity. Every challenge you overcome is a step toward becoming the most confident version of yourself. Can true confidence coexist with humility? At first glance, these traits might seem at odds. Confidence often conjures images of boldness and self-assurance, while humility suggests modesty and self-awareness. But Stoicism teaches us that the two aren't just compatible, they're deeply intertwined. True confidence, as the Stoics saw it, isn't about puffing yourself up or pretending to have all the answers. Instead, it's about embracing your strengths while staying open to growth and learning. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential thinkers, put it perfectly. It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. In other words, the moment we believe we've mastered everything is the moment we stop growing. Humility, then, becomes a superpower, a way to stay grounded and receptive to the lessons life offers. Think about it. When you approach challenges with humility, you're more likely to listen, adapt, and improve. You're not rigidly clinging to the idea that you're always right. Instead, you're open to feedback, willing to adjust, and confident enough to admit when you don't have all the answers. Here's a practical example. Imagine seeking feedback on a project or a skill you're working to improve. Humility allows you to ask for input without feeling threatened or defensive. It's not about doubting yourself, it's about recognizing that there's always room to grow. And here's the beautiful paradox: that very openness to growth often makes you more confident. Why? Because you're not relying on a fragile sense of perfection. Instead, you're building your confidence on a foundation of continuous learning and self-awareness. So, how might humility enhance your confidence? Take a moment to reflect on areas where you might be resisting feedback or clinging to the idea that you already know enough. What would it look like to approach those areas with a bit more humility? Could it help you grow, not just in skill, but in the quiet, unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you're always moving forward? Gratitude isn't just a fleeting feeling, it's a deliberate practice that strengthens our confidence from the inside out. When we shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have, we cultivate a sense of contentment that grounds us. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca once wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." In other words, when we anchor ourselves in appreciation for the here and now, we free ourselves from the endless chase for more and the anxiety that comes with it. Think about it. When you're constantly chasing the next big thing, whether it's a promotion, a new possession, or even a certain level of social status, you're always living in the future. But gratitude brings you back to the present moment, reminding you of the abundance that already exists in your life. This mindset not only fosters inner peace, but also builds a quiet, unshakable confidence. Why? Because when you're grounded in gratitude, you're no longer relying on external validation or achievements to feel worthy. You already feel whole. One simple yet powerful way to practice this is by keeping a gratitude journal. Every day, take a few moments to write down 3 things you're thankful for. They don't have to be grand or life-changing. It could be as simple as a good cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend, or even the warmth of the sun on your face. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to notice and appreciate the small joys that often go unnoticed. And as you build this habit, you'll find that your confidence grows, not because you've achieved more, but because you've learned to see the value in what's already around you. So take a moment right now. What's one thing you're grateful for today? It could be something big or something small, but the act of acknowledging it is where the magic begins. Because gratitude isn't just about feeling good, it's about recognizing the strength and stability that already exist within you. And when you do that, confidence becomes effortless. Many of us feel the weight of perfectionism pressing down on us, whether it's at work, in our personal lives, or even in our hobbies. We tell ourselves that if it's not perfect, it's not worth doing. But Stoicism offers a refreshingly different approach. Instead of chasing an impossible ideal, Stoic philosophy teaches us to embrace imperfection as a natural part of life. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." What he meant is that life isn't about smooth, flawless movement. It's about grappling with challenges, learning from them, and growing stronger in the process. Think about a creative project you've worked on, maybe a painting, a piece of writing, or even a home improvement task. Chances are there were moments when things didn't go as planned. Maybe the colors didn't blend the way you wanted, or the words didn't flow perfectly. The Stoic approach would be to see those imperfections not as failures, but as opportunities to learn and improve. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. So how can we let go of the need to be perfect? Start by recognizing that perfection is an illusion. No one has ever achieved it, and no one ever will. Instead, focus on what's within your control, your effort, your attitude, and your willingness to keep moving forward. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this moment? How can I grow from this experience? By shifting your mindset, you'll find that imperfection becomes less of a burden and more of a teacher. Discipline is the bridge between goals and confidence. Without it, even the most ambitious aspirations remain out of reach. Stoicism teaches us that self-discipline is not just about control, it's about building trust in ourselves. When we consistently act in alignment with our values, we prove to ourselves that we are reliable, capable, and worthy of our own respect. As Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True freedom and true confidence comes from mastering our impulses and staying committed to what matters most. Think about something as simple as a morning routine. Waking up early, exercising, or setting aside time for reflection might seem small, but these habits reinforce a powerful truth: you are in control of your actions. Every time you follow through on a commitment, no matter how minor, you're strengthening your self-trust, and over time, that trust becomes the foundation of unshakable confidence. So, what's one area of your life where you could bring more discipline? Maybe it's resisting distractions, sticking to a healthy habit, or dedicating time to a skill you've been neglecting. The key is to start small and stay consistent. Each step forward, no matter how tiny, is proof that you can rely on yourself, and that's where confidence begins to grow. What if failure wasn't something to fear, but an opportunity to grow? This is the kind of question Stoicism invites us to ask ourselves. For the Stoics, failure isn't a mark of defeat. It's a stepping stone, a teacher, and a chance to become stronger. Seneca once said, "Failure changes for the better, success for the worse." At first glance, that might sound counterintuitive, but think about it. failure forces us to pause, reflect, and adapt, while success can sometimes lead to complacency or arrogance. Let's take a moment to consider a real-life scenario. Imagine a relationship that didn't work out. It's easy to label that as a failure, to dwell on the pain or regret. But what if instead you saw it as an opportunity to learn more about yourself, your needs, and your boundaries? What if that experience taught you how to communicate better or recognize red flags earlier? Suddenly, the failure becomes valuable, a lesson rather than a loss. The Stoics believed that life is full of things we can't control, and failure is often one of them. What we can control, however, is how we respond to it. Do we let it define us, or do we use it as fuel to grow? This mindset shift doesn't just make failure easier to handle, it transforms it into something empowering. So, the next time you face a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to become more resilient, more self-aware, or more prepared for what's next? Failure, when seen through the lens of Stoicism, isn't an end, it's a beginning. True confidence comes from being unapologetically yourself. It's not about chasing approval or molding yourself to fit someone else's expectations. Stoicism teaches us that real strength lies in living authentically, in harmony with your own values and nature. Think about it. How much energy do we waste trying to be someone we're not, just to meet the standards of others? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." It's a powerful reminder that confidence isn't about debate or external validation, it's about action. It's about embodying your principles and showing up as your truest self, no matter what the world throws at you. Take the example of someone who decides to pursue a creative passion like painting or writing, even when society tells them to focus on a practical career. That person isn't just defying expectations, they're choosing to live authentically. They're saying, "This is who I am, and I won't apologize for it." That kind of courage breeds confidence because it's rooted in self-respect and integrity. And here's the thing, when you live in alignment with your values, you stop worrying about what others think. You stop needing their approval because you've already given yourself the most important validation there is. So, ask yourself, where in your life are you holding back because of fear or societal pressure? What would it look like to take one step closer to your authentic self today? Maybe it's speaking up about something you believe in, even if it's unpopular. Maybe it's letting go of a role or identity that no longer fits who you are. True confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. And when you embrace that, you'll find a sense of freedom and strength that no amount of external praise can ever match. What if you lived each day with the awareness that your time is limited? How would that shift the way you approach your goals, your relationships, your fears? This is the heart of the Stoic practice of Memento Mori, a Latin phrase that means remember you must die. At first glance, it might sound grim, but for the Stoics, this practice was a profound tool for clarity and courage. Seneca once wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life." By keeping the inevitability of death in mind, we're reminded of what truly matters, freeing us from the distractions and anxieties that often hold us back. Think about it, when you truly internalize the idea that your time here is finite, the excuses we make for not pursuing our dreams begin to lose their power. That project you've been putting off, that conversation you've been avoiding, that risk you've been too afraid to take, what's stopping you? Memento Mori isn't about dwelling on death. It's about using the awareness of life's shortness as a spark to live boldly. Imagine standing at the edge of a decision, knowing that fear of failure is the only thing holding you back. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? This practice doesn't just inspire action, it also helps us prioritize. When we remember that our time is limited, we stop wasting energy on things that don't align with our values. We become more intentional, more focused, and yes, more confident, because confidence grows when we're living in alignment with what truly matters to us. So take a moment to reflect. If today were your last, what would you want to have done? What would you want to have said? Memento Mori isn't a call to live in fear. It's a call to live fully with purpose and courage. Stoicism teaches us that true confidence isn't tied to what we own. In fact, the more we cling to material possessions, the more we risk losing our sense of inner stability. Think about it. When your confidence depends on external things, your car, your wardrobe, your latest gadgets, you're setting yourself up for constant worry. What if you lose those things? What if they break or become outdated? Suddenly, your sense of self-worth is at the mercy of circumstances. But Stoicism offers a different path, one where confidence comes from within, untethered from the fleeting nature of material wealth. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, put it perfectly when he said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This idea is revolutionary in a world that constantly tells us to want more, buy more, and accumulate more. When we reduce our desires, we free ourselves from the anxiety of chasing after things we don't truly need. It's not about rejecting comfort or living in deprivation. It's about recognizing that our happiness and confidence don't hinge on what we own. Consider this. Have you ever noticed how some of the most joyful moments in life come from the simplest things? A walk in nature, a meaningful conversation, or even a quiet moment of reflection. These experiences don't require wealth or status. They're available to anyone at any time. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that by detaching from materialism, we create space for what truly matters: peace of mind, gratitude, and a sense of self that isn't swayed by external forces. Take a moment to think about your own relationship with material possessions. Do you find yourself worrying about what you don't have, or feeling anxious about losing what you do? What if you could shift your focus away from accumulating things and instead cultivate a mindset of contentment? Confidence grows when we stop looking for validation in our possessions and start finding it within ourselves. It's not always easy, but the rewards, inner peace, resilience, and a deeper sense of purpose are worth it. This is the kind of confidence that can't be taken away, no matter what happens in the outside world. It's rooted in self-awareness, self-reliance, and the understanding that you already have everything you need to feel secure. And that's the power of Stoicism. It doesn't just teach us how to be confident, it shows us how to be unshakable. How does the company we keep influence our confidence? Stoicism teaches us that the people around us play a significant role in shaping who we are. As Seneca once said, associate with people who are likely to improve you. This isn't just about seeking out successful or influential individuals. It's about surrounding yourself with those who embody virtue, integrity, and encouragement. When you're around people who uplift and challenge you to grow, your confidence naturally strengthens because their positive energy becomes a mirror for your own potential. Think about it. Have you ever left a conversation feeling inspired and ready to take on the world? That's the power of being in the right company. On the flip side, spending time with those who constantly doubt themselves or others can subtly erode your self-assurance. Stoicism reminds us to be intentional about our relationships, not out of judgment, but out of a desire to cultivate an environment that nurtures our best selves. A practical way to apply this is by seeking out communities of like-minded individuals. Whether it's a local group, an online forum, or even a book club focused on personal growth, these spaces can offer support, accountability, and a sense of belonging. When you're surrounded by people who share your values and aspirations, you're more likely to stay grounded and motivated. So, take a moment to reflect. How do your current relationships impact your confidence? Are they lifting you up or holding you back? The answers might just inspire you to make a change. Stoicism teaches us that acceptance is the foundation of confidence. It's not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is fine. It's about seeing things as they truly are and choosing to respond with clarity rather than resistance. When we stop fighting against what we can't change, we free ourselves from unnecessary frustration and create space for genuine inner strength. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you and love the people with whom fate brings you together." These words remind us that life will always present challenges, setbacks, and circumstances beyond our control. But instead of seeing these as obstacles, we can view them as opportunities to practice acceptance. When we embrace what we can't change, we stop wasting energy on what-ifs and start focusing on what we can influence. Think about it like this. Imagine you're facing a health challenge. You didn't choose it, and you might not be able to reverse it, but by accepting the reality of the situation, you can shift your energy toward managing it with grace and determination. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up, it means choosing to meet life on its terms with courage and resilience. Now, take a moment to reflect. What in your life feels like it's outside your control? Is it a relationship, a career situation, or perhaps a personal limitation? Instead of resisting it, consider how acceptance might open the door to a calmer, more confident mindset. When we stop battling the unchangeable, we find peace in the present moment, and that's where true confidence begins to grow. What if you could love everything that happens to you? Not just tolerate it, not just endure it, but truly embrace it with open arms. This is the heart of the Stoic practice known as Ammafati, the love of fate. It's a radical shift in perspective, one that doesn't just accept life's twists and turns, but actively chooses to see them as essential parts of your journey. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who was deeply influenced by Stoicism, once said, "My formula for greatness in a human being is Ammafati." Think about that for a moment. To love your fate, no matter how chaotic or challenging, is to step into a mindset of true resilience and power. So, what does this look like in practice? Imagine losing a job you thought was secure. At first, it feels like a devastating blow, a setback that throws your plans into disarray. But with Ammafati, you begin to see it differently. Maybe this loss opens the door to a new career path you hadn't considered. Or perhaps it gives you the space to reconnect with a passion you'd set aside. Instead of resisting the experience, you lean into it, asking yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this moment shape me into someone stronger, wiser, more adaptable? This is the essence of loving your fate, not as blind optimism, but as a deliberate choice to find meaning in every experience, good or bad. Now consider your own life. What's a situation you've struggled to accept? How might your perspective shift if you saw it not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity? Ammafati doesn't mean you have to enjoy every moment. Stoicism isn't about denying your emotions. It's about recognizing that even the hardest moments are part of your story, and they have the potential to shape you in ways you can't yet imagine. When you start to see challenges as tools rather than roadblocks, you unlock a deeper sense of purpose and confidence. This is the gift of Ammafati, the ability to transform what happens to you into something that works for you. What gives your life meaning and direction? This isn't just a philosophical question, it's the foundation of confidence. Stoicism teaches us that living with purpose isn't about grand, sweeping gestures. It's about finding clarity in what truly matters and aligning your actions with it every single day. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Think about that for a moment. How much of your time is spent on things that don't truly align with your deeper values or long-term goals? When you live with purpose, you're no longer tossed around by the chaos of life. Instead, you become grounded, focused, and unshakable. Imagine waking up each morning with a clear sense of what you're working toward, whether it's building stronger relationships, growing in your career, or simply becoming a better version of yourself. That clarity fuels your confidence because you know you're moving in a direction that matters. Take, for example, someone who decides to align their daily habits with their long-term goals. Maybe they want to write a book, so they commit to writing just 300 words a day. It's a small action, but over time, it adds up to something significant. That's the power of purpose. It turns ordinary moments into meaningful progress. So, here's a challenge for you. What's one thing you can do today that aligns with your deepest values or long-term vision? It doesn't have to be huge. Even the smallest step in the right direction can build your confidence and remind you that you're living intentionally. Because when you act with purpose, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. So let's bring this all together. The Stoic teachings we've explored today, focusing on what's within your control, cultivating self-awareness, and embracing adversity, are not just philosophical ideas. They're practical tools for building a life of effortless confidence. When you shift your attention to what you can influence and let go of what you can't, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and self-doubt. By practicing self-awareness, you become the calm observer of your thoughts and emotions rather than being ruled by them. And when you face challenges head-on, viewing them as opportunities to grow, you build resilience and a deeper sense of inner strength. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Think about that for a moment. Your thoughts shape your reality, and with Stoicism, you have the power to shape them intentionally. Confidence doesn't come from avoiding difficulties or waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you because you've trained your mind to respond with clarity and purpose. Now, I'd love to hear from you. How can you start applying these Stoic principles in your own life? Maybe it's taking a moment each day to reflect on what's within your control, or perhaps it's reframing a challenge as an opportunity to grow. Whatever it is, share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your journey. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more insights on living with Stoic wisdom. Until next time, remember, confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you cultivate, one thought, one action at a time.